Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are ripping the mask off one of the most destructive, confusing, and deeply shameful truths. A narcissist hides behind their polished charm, their compulsive, predatory sexual addiction. You are here because you felt the shock of betrayal. You found the hidden apps, the secret conversations, the unexplained late nights. You've tortured yourself with the same painful questions. Was I not enough? Was I not attractive enough? Why do they need so many others? Let me say this in a way that lands. Your supposed inadequacy is a lie they planted in your mind. The reality is colder, darker, and far more mechanical than you ever imagined. We are going to expose why the narcissist is not a lover, but a prisoner of a biological drive they cannot control. We are taught to believe that cheating comes from a broken relationship or a lack of love. In the world of narcissism, that belief is simply wrong. The narcissist's sexual behavior has nothing to do with you, your body, your attractiveness, or your performance. It has everything to do with a huge screaming emptiness inside them that they frantically try to fill with other bodies. Sexual addiction in narcissism is not about desire. It is about regulation. They use sex the way an alcoholic uses alcohol, to numb their inner pain, silence the relentless inner critic, and create a fantasy version of themselves that feels powerful and wanted. The question that keeps you awake at night is this: how could they look into my eyes, say they loved me, and then betray me with strangers? The answer sits in the nature of the addiction itself. To a narcissist, sex is not intimacy, it is a transaction for supply. When they are with you, they extract supply. When they are with someone else, they extract supply. There is no real difference because they do not truly see people. They see objects, they hoard attention. Their sexual addiction is just one more expression of their endless greed. You probably noticed the early warning signs, but you mistook them for passion, the intensity, the hypersexuality, the constant craving for validation through touch. It looked like obsession, but it wasn't obsession with you. It was the frantic momentum of an addict chasing a fix. They love-bombed you physically to hook you, turning you into a dependable source of the dopamine they needed. And just like any addict, they built a tolerance. The addiction demanded a stronger hit, a new pursuit, a new conquest, a fresh source of validation to push back the withdrawal. This addiction thrives on the chase. The narcissist gets the biggest dopamine rush not from the act itself, but from the pursuit. Once a new target is secured, the high drops. That crash fuels an endless cycle of hunting. They are sharks that must keep moving to survive. If they stop, they have to face their own thoughts. And for a narcissist, real self-reflection feels like annihilation. Sexual conquest becomes a distraction from the deep shame and emptiness at their core. They run from themselves, using other people's bodies as stepping stones. The narcissist's sexual addiction is often tied to somatic narcissism. Even when they seem cerebral or in their head, they still weaponize their body. Their sense of worth comes from their power to seduce. Without being desired by multiple people, they feel hollow and worthless. This is why they flirt with staff, keep exes hanging, and maintain a harem of orbiters. They need a nonstop flow of external validation to hold up their fragile ego. One person can never fuel a machine that burns through supply this fast. You need to understand this. Their behavior is compulsive. They cannot simply stop because you asked or because they promised. It is not a choice in the way you understand choice. When the urge hits, triggered by stress, boredom, or an ego injury, they go into a kind of trance. They will risk their marriage, their career, and their reputation for a short-lived thrill. It is pathological risk-taking. They feel untouchable, convinced they are smarter than everyone else, and immune to consequences. This arrogance is the signature of an addict who believes they control the substance right up until it destroys them. The secret life they build is elaborate and chilling. Burner phones, hidden emails, dating profiles you never knew existed. Their life is cut into compartments with surgical precision. You are living in one room of their house, thinking it's the whole structure, while they run a brothel in the basement. Discovering this double existence creates betrayal trauma so intense it mirrors PTSD. You realize you were sleeping next to a stranger who saw your trust not as a gift, but as a vulnerability to exploit, because they need your facade. They need the stability you provide. You are the public proof that they are normal, the good spouse, the good parent, the respectable citizen. Without you, the cover falls apart. They want everything: the thrill of their addiction and the safety of the sanctuary you built. It is the ultimate selfish act, using you as armor while stabbing you from behind. We will look at the biology, the psychology, and the darker spiritual hunger driving their need to consume. We will uncover why they are incapable of real fidelity, why therapy so often fails, and why your love was never going to cure a disorder wired into their system. To understand their lack of control, we have to look at their brain chemistry. Research suggests narcissists show abnormalities in brain regions tied to empathy and reward. They are often dopamine deficient. They cannot experience pleasure in life's quiet, simple moments the way you can. A sunset, a hug, a deep conversation. These moments barely register. They need intense stimulation to feel anything at all. Sexual conquest gives a sharp, powerful surge of dopamine. Biologically, they are chasing a high that everyday life can never give them. This sexual addiction works like a painkiller. Underneath it all, the narcissist carries a crushing load of toxic shame. They feel flawed, inferior, and small, and that shame is unbearable to them. Sexual conquest becomes a temporary anesthetic. When someone desires them, the shame goes quiet for a moment. In that window, they feel godlike. They feel powerful. But because the relief comes from the outside, it fades fast. The shame comes back louder than before, demanding another fix. They are stuck in a biological loop of shame and acting out. We have to talk about objectification as a survival strategy. To the narcissist, people are not full human beings with inner lives. They are tools for gratification. They strip others of their humanity so they can use them. This is why they can turn cold and detached immediately after sex. Once the biological urge is satisfied, the object is no longer needed. The person is discarded like a used tissue. This dehumanization makes cheating possible without guilt. You do not feel remorse for using an appliance. And in the grip of addiction, that is what you are to them. Narcissistic sexuality is often a performance. They are not experiencing intimacy. They are watching themselves perform. They are locked on their own image during the act. They check themselves in mirrors. They focus on their own pleasure, their own performance. The partner exists only as a prop to support the scene. This dissociation blocks real connection. They are alone with their ego, using your body to feed their vanity. Risk itself becomes an aphrodisiac. The danger of being discovered intensifies the high. Adrenaline mixes with dopamine to create a powerful rush. Doing it in your bed while you're nearby or with someone you know raises the thrill. These violations make them feel superior, smarter than everyone else. This duping delight is a core part of the addiction. The betrayal is part of what excites them. They suffer from emotional anorexia and sexual bulimia. They starve themselves of genuine emotional nourishment because vulnerability terrifies them. To make up for that, they binge on sexual encounters. But like bulimia, they cannot absorb what they take in. They purge the experience, discard the partner, and stay empty. They consume countless bodies while gaining no nourishment for the soul. They remain spiritually malnourished while stuffing themselves with flesh. The narcissist also uses sex to regulate anxiety. When they feel powerless at work, with money, or in life, Their sexual acting out often spikes. It gives them an illusion of control. They may not control their boss, but they can control a new conquest. This is displacement trying to solve an internal crisis through external domination. That's why cheating so often lines up with big life events like weddings, births, or funerals. Stress activates the addiction. Novelty is their only god. The narcissistic brain quickly stops responding to what is familiar. This is sometimes called the Coolidge effect. No matter how attractive, intelligent, or skilled you are, you eventually become familiar. To a narcissist, familiar means invisible. They crave new supply because newness itself is the drug. They are addicted to first moments, the first touch, the first glance, the first hit of validation. They chase it endlessly, and it never leads anywhere lasting. They also project their own impulses onto you. They accuse you of cheating. They interrogate your whereabouts. This is confession through projection. Because they cannot control themselves, they assume you cannot either. They live in a paranoid world where everyone is dangerous because they are dangerous. Their jealousy is not love, it is a thief's fear of being robbed. At its core, the addiction is also a defense against death. The narcissist is terrified of aging and mortality. Sexual desirability becomes proof of existence. As long as they can attract partners, they feel alive and untouchable. They reach for younger partners to steal a sense of youth and vitality. They are emotional vampires trying to outrun the grave by feeding on other people's life force. The addiction is a frantic attempt to deny their own decay. The turning point comes when compulsion crushes caution. Early on, they were careful, but addiction always escalates. The risks get bigger. They get sloppy. You find a receipt, an undeleted message, a strange smell on their clothes. Their arrogance convinces them they are immune, but addiction makes them reckless. They start acting out in ways that cannot be hidden. The house of cards begins to sway under the weight of their own pride. A healthy person caught cheating might show remorse. A narcissist explodes. How dare you look? How dare you question them? They attack you for discovering the truth. This is Darvo. Deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender. They flip the story instantly. I wouldn't have to do this if you were more loving. They drop the blame for their addiction right into your lap. Your pain becomes a weapon in their hands. You start to notice the ice in their eyes as the mask of the caring partner falls away, exposing the addict underneath. They look at you with disgust. You are no longer a partner. You are an obstacle to their next fix, the guard standing between them and their drug. They stop hiding their contempt. They may gaslight you, insisting you're unstable, suspicious, insecure. Even with solid proof, they fight hard for their right to keep using. Triangulation becomes obvious. Instead of hiding other women or men, they start flaunting them. They comment on how attractive someone else is. They compare you unfavorably. This is done on purpose to break down your self-worth so you won't leave. They want you to feel grateful they still tolerate you. They try to normalize their harem. Monogamy isn't natural, they say, dressing up their lack of self-control as philosophy. They may escalate into coercive control in the bedroom. Their hunger for stimulation grows darker, more degrading. They pressure you into acts that violate your comfort or your values. If you refuse, they use it as an excuse to cheat. You won't give me what I need. Your boundaries become their justification for betrayal. They are trying to drag you into their pathology. The size of the deception becomes clear. It was never a single lapse. It was a way of life. Business trips were sex trips. Late nights at work were rendezvous. The entire relationship was a manufactured illusion. This break from reality is the most devastating blow. You realize you fell in love with a character played by an actor who was sleeping with the audience during intermission. The narcissist then quickly starts to devalue you. Now that you see the truth, you are no longer a source of admiration. You are a source of judgment and they cannot stand being judged. They begin treating you like an enemy. Affection is cut off completely. They punish you for the crime they committed. You are trapped with someone who hates you for recognizing their real face. They may go through a collapse of their own. If the exposure is public, if they lose status, reputation, or work, they spiral, but not into honest accountability. They spiral into victimhood. Everyone is against me. They play the martyr. They cry performative tears to pull you back in. They promise therapy, change, recovery from sex addiction. Be careful. The sex addiction label is often used as a get-out-of-jail card. It becomes a tool for sympathy. It's a disease. I can't help it. While the compulsion is real, the core problem is the absence of empathy. The diagnosis becomes a shield against responsibility. They want you to heal them so they can repeat the cycle. They weaponize the language of recovery. This phase ends with a choice. You realize love cannot cure an addiction like this. You cannot be attractive enough, patient enough, or perfect enough to fill the void. You are pouring water into a bottomless container. The truth lands hard. You are not fighting for a relationship. You are fighting for your sanity against a biological machine programmed to consume and destroy. As the addiction devours them, the narcissist enters spiritual bankruptcy. They start to look drained. Their complexion dulls. Running a double life speeds up their aging. They are tired. The highs no longer satisfy. They need more extreme stimulation just to feel alive. They are chasing a dragon that keeps moving farther away. Anxiety, misery, and emptiness take over. Consequences begin to show up. Friends pull back. Colleagues whisper. The carefully polished reputation is stained. For a narcissist, reputation is survival. Losing it feels like psychic death. Paranoia sets in. They lash out at anyone they see as a threat. They become a wounded animal, volatile, and dangerous. A new supply always disappoints them. The people they cheated with become dull once the chase is over. They are left with shallow, disposable connections. No one to trust. No one to lean on. They traded a diamond for pockets full of gravel. The isolation of addiction closes in, a cold prison they built for themselves. They may fall into other addictions. Sex addiction rarely lives alone. Alcohol, drugs, gambling, other compulsions show up to manage the anxiety of collapse. They are trying to patch a sinking ship with scraps. They are coming apart in real time. The superhuman image crumbles, showing a frightened, unstable child underneath. Narcissistic mortification sets in. The shame they ran from finally catches them. Instead of humility, it fuels hostility. They resent you for surviving. They despise you for leaving. They want to destroy you because you are living proof of their failure. If they cannot possess you, they want to make sure no one else ever can. You, the survivor, are left dealing with STDs, fear, and physical trauma. You have to get tested. You are forced to face the bodily reality of their betrayal. This is the ultimate violation. They gambled with your life for a short rush. That realization kills any remaining affection and replaces it with something solid and unshakable. You understand they were willing to destroy you emotionally and physically to feed their ego. The narcissist then launches into frantic hoovering. They sense they are losing their main source of supply. Panic sets in. They propose marriage, offer expensive gifts, shout declarations of love. It is theater. It's the addict swearing they'll never drink again while hiding a bottle behind their back. It's pitiful. You look at them now, and you no longer see a partner. You see a caricature. They begin projecting their self-hatred onto you. They tell you that you are unlovable, that no one else will ever want you. That voice is theirs, not yours. They are terrified that they are unlovable. They are trying to hand you their shame so they don't have to carry it. Refuse that package. Addiction strips away their humanity. They become mechanical. They drift from person to person with empty eyes. Even basic connection is gone. They are ghosts haunting dating apps, searching for a heartbeat to drain. They are the walking dead. In the end, collapse reveals the truth. They were never powerful. They were enslaved to a chemical drive they cannot master. They are weak. You, the O, me who stayed, who loved, who tried to save them. You are the strong one. And now you are using that strength to leave. Here is the final truth. You were never the problem. You could have been flawless, stunning, endlessly sexual, and they still would have betrayed you. A black hole cannot be filled. Their addiction is a structural break in their inner world. It does not reflect your worth. It exposes their emptiness. Stop asking, why wasn't I enough? Start asking, why was I accepting someone who had nothing inside? You must redefine intimacy. What the narcissist gave you was not intimacy. It was intensity. Intensity is cheap. Intensity is easy. Real intimacy is safety. Real intimacy is loyalty. Real intimacy means your partner protects your body and your heart, even when you are not there. The narcissist cannot do this. You were hungry for nourishment, and they fed you gravel. Understand this. Their desire is not a compliment. Being wanted by a narcissist is like being chosen by a parasite. They don't want you. They want to consume you. They feed on your light to hide their darkness. Do not feel flattered by their obsession. Feel warned, feel alerted, and leave. You must detox from chaos. You became trained to expect emotional highs and crashes. Peace will feel boring at first. That is normal. That is your nervous system healing. Learn to tolerate calm. Learn to value a partner who is consistent, even if they don't bring the toxic excitement the narcissist faked. Boring is safe. Boring is healthy. Walk away from the performance. You do not need to compete with their exes or the imaginary rivals in their phone. The game is rigged. The only way to win is to step off the field. Let them play alone. You have retired from the league of dysfunction. Do not offer closure or friendship. They will use access to you to triangulate their next victim. My ex still wants me. Don't give them that weapon. Cut contact completely. Become unreachable. Your silence is the one thing they cannot twist or use. Your body is yours. It is sacred. It is not a dumping ground for someone else's shame. Reclaim your sexuality. Reclaim your self-worth. You are whole on your own. You do not need a broken person to prove you exist. The narcissist will continue the cycle. They will find new supply. They will love bomb. They will betray. They will destroy. It is the same tragedy on repeat. But you are off the ride. You are standing on solid ground, watching the carousel spin out of control from a safe distance. Now use this pain to build unbreakable boundaries. You now hold powerful knowledge. You can spot a predator fast. You know that hypersexuality without real intimacy is a warning sign, not an invitation. You are wiser. You are stronger. You are untouchable. The narcissist stays enslaved to desire, condemned to endless hunger. But you are free. You are capable of real love. Faithful love, deep love. Go claim it. It is waiting for you beyond this nightmare. Class dismissed.